All right, welcome everyone to the Type 1 Gamer Show, hosted by your favorite diabetic game critic. Hopefully it's me. I don't know of too many other ones. If they exist, please let me know. It's a community I'd like to be a part of. I kind of wanted to discuss a easy topic, but I just wanted to add my 2 cents to it, and coincidentally, I only have 2 points that I want to bring up. The first thing that I want to say about loot boxes is they do not cause gambling addiction. You'll see a lot in the press that these lawmakers trying to remove loot boxes from video games will often say that these loot boxes can cause a gambling addiction in children. That's absolutely silly. We have heard the argument over and over again that violent video games make for violent people, and that's just simply not true. We even at this point have the science to back that up. It's not true, and for people to turn around and then say that loot boxes can cause a gambling addiction in children is both pandering and flimsy. It's any argument that you hear, but the children are susceptible. You don't lend it any credence. It doesn't deserve it. It's pandering at best. But the other thing that I wanted to say that loot boxes do accomplish is that they unleash an addictive tendency in someone with an addictive personality. Being addicted to something requires an addictive personality. You can't just, unless it's a chemical, obviously, you don't just become addicted to it. You have to have that already in place. And the problem that I have with loot boxes is for people like me who love playing video games because they don't remind you of the real world, they allow you just to focus on your own little narrative, is that loot boxes corrupt that. They ultimately do. Even games that I think are a lot of fun, like Overwatch, I can't excuse even cosmetic-only loot boxes. I just can't excuse it because I myself have an addictive personality, not towards gambling per se. Thankfully, that's not my vice. But for people that try to come and play a video game just to get away from the things that have them down, or just to, even if their life's going fine and they just want to sit down and play a game, no one deserves to have their addiction stare them right in the face while they're partaking in the hobby that they love. That is ultimately my problem with loot boxes. I know that sounds a bit more idealistic than what the politicians are trying to remove loot boxes for, and yes, it is, but if we're ever going to have a real conversation about loot boxes and whether or not they should be implemented into video games, and if so, how, we can't bring up these, frankly, 90s-esque arguments about, but they might harm the children playing them. It's just a Star Wars themed casino. It's a gambling. Like, yes, it's obviously a problem for a child to have access to a gambling-like environment. It is not healthy. It's not good for them to think that, oh, video games, yeah, you pop it in, you pay extra for the things you really like. That's not a good precedent to set, but it's hardly causing addiction. And to say it is, I would say, show me the data. Show me the science that proves loot boxes cause a gambling addiction, or that anything can cause a gambling addiction. I don't believe it. What I do believe is that people that have an addictive personality can be exploited. And that's ultimately my problem with loot boxes. They ruin a otherwise pure experience for somebody, and no one deserves that in the name of corporate greed. I hope to soon talk about my thoughts on cosmetic-only loot boxes. I didn't want to get to that today. I wanted to keep this one kind of short. I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say. Like, what's your problem with loot boxes? If there's something that I said that you disagree with, I would love to hear why. Please just leave it in the comments. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. This has been the Type 1 Gamer Show, where we're not allowed to sugarcoat things. Thanks a lot for listening.